All right, guys, so here's our last example for how to use unit rate to solve problems. So here we have a question that says, predict the number of blue squares in a quilt with 11 green squares if there are 4 green squares in a quilt with 68 blue squares. So just like before, we're going to identify the two things that we are comparing. So we're talking about a quilt or a blanket that has blue squares and green squares in it. And now we're going to identify what they are asking or telling us, So they are telling us that there are 68 blue squares and 4 green squares in a quilt. And they're asking us, how many blue squares would there be in a quilt with 11 green squares? So just like the previous examples, there's not a really good way to turn a 4 into an 11. So we're going to use a unit rate to figure out this question. So 68 blue squares, 4 green squares. I'm going to turn that into 1 green square for how many blue squares, and then use that to find how many blue would be for 11. So the path here, how do I turn a 4 into a 1? I'm going from a bigger unit to a smaller unit, so I'm going to divide. If I divide down here, I also need to divide down here. You might be able to do 68 divided by 4 mentally. I'm going to use a calculator just to double check. So 68 divided by 4 is 17. So what that means is that there are 17 blue squares for every green square. And now I'm going to turn that 1 into an 11. So I'm going from a smaller unit to a larger unit. And I'm going to use multiplication. How do I change a 1 into an 11? I multiply it by 11, which I'm also going to now do to the 17. Again, I'm going to refer to my calculator. 17 times 11 is 187. So here, again, so they were comparing blue squares to green squares. They told us there was 68 blue squares for every 4 green squares. They were asking us how many blue squares there would be for 11 green squares. Since there's not an awesome way to turn a 4 into an 11, we used our good old unit rate to be able to help us with that. So the answer to our question is that we would predict that there would be 187 blue squares when there are 11 green squares. Final answer. Okay, I hope these videos are going to help you. You should probably take notes, write down these examples. I'll be online should you get really stuck. And I look forward to seeing you guys in our Hangouts. Talk to you later.